It has evolved into one of the most influential and dominant forces in American culture. The rise of Black Twitter, now a three-part docuseries from the Onyx Collective called Black Twitter, A People's History, is now streaming on Hulu. And here's a preview.
We moved the culture forward.
We did it, Joe.
I do know one thing, is that when Black Twitter showed up, it was at the most important time.
We can kiki all we want, but when you're Black, you can't avoid the realities of this world.
And I might never come down.
It's way bigger than just fun and jokes.
Black Lives Matter!
We used it to create change intentionally.
And joining us now is Prentice Penny. He has written and produced for shows like Girlfriend, Scrubs, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And he was the showrunner for the hit HBO series Insecure. He's the producer and director of this docuseries. Welcome to Cityline. Prentice, how are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Good to see you. So the docuseries is based on Jason Parham's Wired article. It's called A People's History of Black Twitter, which charts the rise and the voices that made Black Twitter a cultural force. So what is Black Twitter and how did it evolve?
Black Twitter, I think, is any space where digitally Black people and Black culture got to be unapologetically themselves. And I think where it sort of stemmed from was, Black culture has always obviously been on social media, but we were sort of in these siloed communities, whether it was HBCU Twitter or NBA Twitter. And really when the hashtag You're Black When and then it sort of started with cancel plans when it's raining, started trending on the platform, and all of the culture started to participate in this. And that is sort of the big bang that we talk about in the doc of sort of the organic sort of birth of Black Twitter.
So talk a little bit more about how it became so culturally influential.
There's lots of fun ways in which it did, obviously, right? Which is sort of creating memes and GIFs as language. There's ways in which we created sort of what live tweeting is now, as we did with Scandal, right? So there's all the fun ways of that. There's fun ways in which the thread about Zola becomes a movie. But then there's more serious ways in which, obviously, things like Trayvon Martin sort of take us into more adult things, and Black Lives Matter and Oscar So White that was started by April Reign. So there's all these other ways in which Black Twitter I would say grew up or became more mature, started to realize that there's other things that we can do on the platform to activate our responsibility and our power in certain ways.
You talk about some of the breaking news and some of the pivotal social and political moments that have been a part of Black Twitter. Does the platform still have a role, do you think, in breaking news?
Yeah, I think so in a lot of ways. I think, you see ways in which certainly Black people and Black culture has left the platform, but we're still there in big numbers. And I think, that there's lots of times in which I think Black culture and Black people have had to move in America physically in spaces when we feel we're sort of pushed out. And I think that we sort of feel like even though we don't own Twitter, that we feel like we run it and we help shape it. So the idea, I think, of giving it up fully, I don't think that that Black culture feels like that's something that we need to do.
You mentioned this, some of the hashtags. So hashtags have been catalysts for change offline. We talk about Oscars So White, one of the most well-known Me Too. Do you think people even know that these movements started on Black Twitter?
No, and I think that's some of the whole point why we're making the doc too, right? Like my kids are 14 and 16. They're TikTok kids. So it's like they've never been on Twitter, but they move through the world, understanding what these hashtags mean. And so even when my kids saw it, they were like, I didn't know that's where Black Girl Magic came from. I didn't know that's where, Black Lives Matter came from. All these sort of things that they just sort of take for granted. So that's why it's really important that we document this stuff in this series.
So you've called this series a love letter to the culture. How has it been received, and what's Black Twitter's reaction to the documentary series?
Yeah, I think at first when the trailer came out, I think, like a lot of Black culture, super skeptical about, are we sharing our secrets? We should be gatekeeping. Who is this for? And so it's been really nice to see it yesterday, trend like #1, and to see a lot of love for it and to see people go, I don't know what I thought this was going to be, but this is like, I love it. And so that's been such a great response, is because, I've been working for 20 years and all of my art is always trying to elevate and show love to our culture. So to have them embrace, specifically Black Twitter, embrace Black Twitter has been phenomenal.
Now, Prentice, I have to ask you, Elon Musk's purchase of the platform has sent waves through the community, with many threatening to leave and some leaving and trying to launch new social sites. Do you think Black Twitter is going to move to another platform, or is the FOMO or the fear of missing out just too strong?
I mean, I think we can occupy other spaces. I think there's no way to replicate what happened there and what happens there any other place. So I don't think it's as kind of simple as cut and paste us over here. But I think you are sort of seeing, you know, Black Twitter and Black culture just move in other areas. There's ways I see that on TikTok. There's ways I see it in other social media apps. So I think you're seeing its feel and its reach in other places. But I still don't think there's going to be anything like what happened there specifically.
All right, Prentice, thank you for joining us today. Black Twitter, A People's History is streaming now on Hulu.